Lila's voice was echoing behind me, but Luna, my dog, had already dragged me halfway across the hotel garden. Mara, stop! Hey, Mara! I dug my heels into the grass. Luna, bad girl, stop. Too late. My drink spilled all over my dress, glass shattering near my feet. Lila caught up, breathless. Okay, don't freak out, but remember the cute guy from the wedding? The one you were low-key spying on? I groaned. Lila, no, please. Well, she said brightly, he just asked me where you were. Before I could yell at her, Luna yanked again. Luna, seriously, this is not the hotel's idea of something nice. I stopped, because he was standing right there, the guy from the wedding, and up close, God help me, he was even hotter. Dark suit, cold eyes, rigid posture, and a face like someone carved it from expensive marble. He stared at me like I'd spilled my drink onto his soul. Then he stepped closer, took Luna gently by her collar, and murmured, "Come here, you." Hi. I tried. "Who are you?" But he didn't answer. He just turned smooth, silent, and walked away. Hey, you can't just leave like that. He didn't even glance back. Who does that? But the paparazzi definitely did. I heard a camera click behind me. Oh my God, someone whispered. Billionaire banker's kinky night with mystery bridesmaid. My stomach dropped. Oh, this was bad. Very, very bad. Adrian, I should have known trouble the moment Luna barreled into me. No, not Luna. Mara Hale, the woman from the parking lot. The woman whose face I hadn't seen that night. The woman whose existence was now threatening my career. A single picture, one angle, one stupid moment, and investors were panicking. Ford demanded a statement. Some wanted me suspended. Some wanted me out entirely. But I knew a single way to neutralize chaos, control it, control her. When I finally found her again, standing there, stunned by the paparazzi flash, I realized two things at once. One, she was infuriatingly beautiful. Two, I needed her gone, fast. Mara. The next morning wasn't any better. My father cornered me the second I walked into the apartment. We need to talk, Charles said. Since I remarried, well, Delia and I decided to sell the place. What? Dad, you can't. This is Mom's apartment. He shoved a contract into my hands. I need the money to support Nana and Tessa. Sign. I'm not signing anything. Tessa emerged, twirling one of her designer scarves. Where's Luna's collar? The real leather one? I bought it for $80. I glared. It's gone. Charles sighed. I'll buy her another one. Just sign the contract. Then his phone rang. Investors, freaking out. His face paled. Ford wants a statement. Some want you out. And then Adrian Wolfe's voice, cold, distant, echoed in my head. There's a way to fix this. Before my father could ramble, he muttered, then I guess I'm getting married. My jaw dropped. What? Adrian, I didn't mean to see her again. But she walked right into the Hartman Group building that morning, and she looked different. Alert, determined, fire simmering under the surface. Emily, no, sorry. Mara Hale, the HR woman called. Mara turned, and I froze. Here to interview for the CEO's bodyguard. I almost choked. You? I said. She stared at me, unimpressed. What? I pulled Leela aside. This is a joke. You're hiring a bridesmaid. She does Muay Thai, Leela whispered. She's good. Mara looked me dead in the eye. She had no idea it was me from the parking lot. Perfect, Mara, I couldn't believe it. Adrian Wolfe, the rude, annoyingly attractive billionaire, was my new boss, and he didn't even remember me. Lila handed me a security badge. Congrats, you're hired. What? Why? Adrian crossed his arms. Because a paparazzi photo of me with a random woman means I now need protection. Oh, please, I said. They'll spot me faster with you. He raised a brow. Are you calling yourself noticeable? Heat crawled up my neck. I'm calling you a magnet for trouble. His lips twitched. But before I could blink, corporate chaos descended. A dog tag, a store visit, A confirmation. It's you, the clerk said. Adrian turned to me. It's you, Adrian. There it was. Proof. She was the woman from the parking lot, Mara Hale. I watched her breathe in sharply. I watched her process the implications. I watched her brace herself. So, she said finally, I suppose you've seen the headlines. Kind of hard to miss. I leaned closer. There's a way to fix this. I'll give you $100,000. Her eyebrows shot up. To what? Leave town? Yes. She laughed. Actually laughed. No thanks. I have a better idea. She stepped closer. Too close, and said, how about we fake a marriage? My pulse actually skipped. This woman, this reckless, chaotic woman. Just as I planned, I said. But she smirked. 100 grand? Please. I'm worth more than that. Oh, she was going to ruin me. Mara. The next hours were a blur. Tessa's drama. My stepmother's insults. My father's demands. Then Adrian's bodyguard dragged me into a luxury van. I haven't packed. There's no need, he said flatly. Anything you want, the assistant will get. I sank into the plush seat. Wow, this van is so comfy. He stared. You've been in a ride like this before? I shut up. Adrian stood outside, scribbling in a contract. If you don't sign, he said, don't expect to live here. He gestured to the massive penthouse looming above us. Cool, I muttered. I don't want to see you anyway, Vivian. His assistant glared at me. Great, another enemy. I had barely settled when Lila texted me. First day as a bodyguard. Don't fall into your boss's lap. Too late. I'd already fallen into his life. Adrian, she wasn't supposed to get under my skin, but she did. Her stubbornness, her sharp tongue, the way she threw champagne like it cost $2, the way she punched a man at the party hard enough to make him kneel. She had fire, too much fire, dangerous fire, and I was starting to like it. Which is why, when I found her drunk, stumbling outside the shoebox apartment, she still clung to. I snapped. What are you doing here? She demanded. I stepped inside anyway. It's not often I spend time in places like this, I said. She glared. Don't pretend you don't remember. Oh, I remembered. I remembered everything. Especially the part where I almost kissed her before I realized what I was doing. She stepped toward me now, eyes blazing. Handsome, she whispered. Be careful. I don't know what I might do to you. My breath caught. What do you want to do to me? I asked quietly. Her lips curled. Relax. I didn't lay a finger on you. Do you want me to? I swallowed. This woman was going to be the death of me, Mara. But then reality crashed back. His fiancé, his image, his career. And I was the problem. So I braced myself, straightened my clothes, and met his eyes. You need to compensate me for the suit, he said. Fine, I said. Pay up now. Before we could continue, Vivian barged in. Of course, chaos followed, shopping, a dress, a role I never asked for, and finally the conference. My nightmare, all eyes, all cameras, all pressure. Rowan Hart handed me a dress with a note. Here's the love of your life. Adrian. Oh no. This man was trouble, and I was already drowning in him. Mara, the conference hall buzzed like an angry beehive when I stepped in. Reporters, investors, cameras, everyone circling like they smelled blood. And unfortunately, the blood was almost always Adrian Wolfe's, which meant, by extension, mine. Rowan Hart rushed toward me, stress radiating off him. Mara, thank God. Amanda just got rear-ended on the freeway. She can't make it. You're hosting. What? No, Rowan, I'm not prepared. You have 10 minutes, he said, pushing a tablet into my hands. Smile pretty, don't faint. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I scanned the notes, numbers, graphs, corporate jargon I didn't even pretend to understand. Fantastic, I muttered. Maybe if I pass out, they'll forget the paparazzi picture. Before I could hyperventilate, A hotel attendant approached with a large garment bag. "Miss Hale, you were instructed to wear this." I froze. The tag read, "For Mara." "Don't worry, I didn't bill your credit card." Abedio. Heat bloomed in my chest. Annoyance, disbelief, something dangerously close to flattery. I whispered to myself, I am not falling for a billionaire with a fiancé. I am not. But the dress was stunning. Midnight black, sleek, sculpted like it knew my body. I barely finished zipping it before Adrian appeared behind me. "You clean up well," he murmured. I turned away. "Thanks for the dress." And the panic attack. His gaze sharpened. "Relax. You'll be fine. How would you know? You didn't even recognize me from the wedding." He blinked. "You were wearing a mask and running. Fair." He looked at me a moment, too long. "Break a leg," he said quietly, and for reasons I could not understand. That single sentence steadied me. Adrian and I shouldn't have come backstage. Seeing her in that dress was a mistake. One that hit me like a hard jab to the ribs. Every curve, every shimmer, every ounce of confidence she didn't realize she had. She was chaos wrapped in elegance, and apparently, now she was the host of my conference. Rowan hissed in my ear, "If she screws this up, investors will riot." "She won't screw up," I said. "How do you know?" I didn't answer. I couldn't tell him the truth. Because Mara Hale had a way of falling into the most impossible situations and surviving anyway. Because she was stubborn. Because she was brave. Because she was already ruining my judgment. And that terrified me. When the lights hit the stage, she walked out with her chin lifted. Not nervous, not shaking, just there. Strong, like she belonged. The crowd settled, cameras flashed, and Mara spoke. Steady, warm, confident. Rowan whispered, awestruck, "She's good. She's better than good," I said before catching myself. "Great." As if I needed more evidence that she was getting under my skin. The applause thundered. Investors nodded. Even Kellen Ward looked impressed. But then, Vivian appeared at my side, nails digging into my arm. "Your little bodyguard performed well," she whispered. "Almost like she belongs here. Almost," she smirked like she held a knife behind her teeth. "I'll make sure she's dealt with." "Don't," I snapped. Vivian blinked. "Why do you care?" I had no answer, and that scared me more than anything. Mara, the moment the conference ended, the adrenaline vanished and my legs turned to wet noodles. I barely made it backstage before collapsing onto a sofa. Holy crap, I groaned. Did I just talk about projected revenue? Is this my villain origin story? Tessa stormed in with Delia right behind her, like a matching set of angry designer handbags. Well, well, Tessa said sweetly. Mara found herself a rich boyfriend. Delia sniffed. We simply must meet him, preferably at his mansion. I stared at them. He's not my boyfriend. Tessa smiled, all venom. Don't be shy. After all, we still need you to sign that contract. Their voices buzzed around me, tightening my throat. Then a deeper voice, sharp, commanding. What the hell is going on here? Adrian said. Everything stilled. Tessa fluttered her lashes. We're just talking to family, Mr. Wolfe. Get away from her, he said, icy enough to freeze steel. Tessa stiffened. Is that your boyfriend? She whispered to me. I wanted to punch her, but Adrian stepped closer, heat radiating off him. Mara, he said firmly, you're done here. Let's go. For once, I didn't argue. Adrian, I didn't mean to snap. I didn't mean to intervene. I didn't mean to feel anything at all. But the sight of her cornered by those two, Tessa and Delia, dripping poison, ignited something primal in me. I escorted her to the car. She folded her arms and stared out the window. You didn't have to save me, she muttered. Yes, I said. I did. She turned, surprised. I wasn't sure how to explain the pressure in my chest, the instinctive pull toward her, the way I'd stopped breathing when she'd looked small for a moment. So I said nothing. Back at the penthouse, She walked ahead of me, kicking off her heels with a sigh. Thank God the conference is done. Not quite. She didn't know what was coming next. The promotion, the sabotage, the people closing in around me. She didn't know she was about to be thrown deeper into my world, into danger. She didn't know I was one step away from losing everything. But when she glanced back and smiled, tired, grateful, it hit me. I didn't want her to leave. Not anymore. Dangerous. Very dangerous. Mara, the penthouse was too quiet after the conference. The kind of quiet that makes your pulse louder. Adrian vanished into his office, leaving me barefoot and confused in a hallway that wasn't mine. I wandered into the kitchen and practically collided with Vivian. She smiled like a threat. Stay away from Adrian and from next week's announcement. Announcement? She froze, covered it poorly, and walked off. And suddenly, everything in my life was unraveling. Tessa scheming, Dahlia plotting, paparazzi circling, and him, always him. I sank into a chair thinking, what am I even doing here? But I already knew I needed the job, and I was starting to need him too. Adrian, the surveillance footage was still corrupted. No trace of her face from the parking lot. No clarity at all. But I knew now, it was Mara. And instead of exploiting it, the irrational part of me wanted to protect her. Kellen warned me that I was distracted. He wasn't wrong. Losing my head was not something I did. Until now. Mara chaos woke me. Reporters outside again. Vivian hissing into her phone. Lila trying to shield me. Tessa and Delia prowling downstairs. Adrian snapped at security about missing footage, then turned to me with a quiet urgency. We're leaving. You stay with me today. I followed him into the van, my heart tight with unspoken questions. What happened? I asked. Nothing you need to worry about, he said, which meant everything. Adrian. She sat beside me, hair still damp, Luna leaning into her leg, and somehow the air felt different. She pressed again, wanting answers, wanting truth. You're my bodyguard, she said, not a houseplant. I nearly laughed, but Rowan called with warnings about possible threats around next week's announcement. I glanced at Mara, knowing I couldn't tell her yet. I'll explain later, I said. Mara at the office, eyes followed us. Vivian glared. Kellen analyzed me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Then Adrian led me into his office and finally told me, the footage from the hotel was erased. You're the only one who knows what happened. My stomach flipped. He stepped closer. I need you to trust me. I do, I said, too fast, too honest. His expression softened in a way I'd never seen, until Vivian burst in. Your fiancé needs you. He stepped away instantly, his walls slamming back up. Later, he said, and he left. Adrian. I didn't want to go with Vivian. She clung to my arm, warning me about Mara, threatening consequences. I told her she was forgetting her place. She said Mara would ruin me. I didn't answer because the truth terrified me. I wasn't sure I cared. I knew I loved her, and she loved me too.